afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome back to the Curry Spot with me, Dr. Jill Barham, and
me, Amanda Potter, and
Cathrine Cook.
Welcome back. It's lovely to see your face.
Lovely to
Today,
see you.
I'd like to ask you more about doTERRA, if that's okay. I actually do the aroma touch massage technique, and so I have got some wisdom, but I'd like you to share with our viewers really about the differences between normal essential oils that you buy, I don't know, on a mind, body and spirit event, and doTERRA.
Perfect. Yeah, it is very, very different, and actually it's sometimes the hardest misconception about essential oils is that, for example, if somebody's struggling with sleep and somebody says, oh, have some lavender, and they just go out and they grab a lavender and they don't find it works. And that's because, sadly, in the essential oil industry, there's a lot of other things within those bottles, and they're allowed to put a label on that says 100% pure lavender. And actually, the industry standard is actually almost, the industry standard is actually almost just 4%. So that it's actually very, very low.
Gosh.
So lavender for doTERRA is wonderful. It literally smells like you rubbed it in your hands and breathed it in. So you would need that 1 drop, as opposed to if you had a really poor quality one, you'd need like 28 drops of that lavender, which nobody's going to use. Whereas doTERRA, you will need 1 drop. So for each application, and they may seem more expensive on the offset because it looks like, well, that's more expensive towards that bottle that you're seeing. But if you only need 1 drop, then that is so much more cost effective. They're sourced all over the world where they're supposed to grow, so indigenous to those countries. And of course, what does that mean? It's similar to like strawberries. You know, when you have strawberries in season and out of season, it looks the same, you bite into it and it tastes totally different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same with the essential oils. It means that they can achieve what they should have achieved hundreds of years ago. Essential oils is not something new. This is actually going back to nature. You know, along the way, we all know things have got a little bit confusing, and the direction has been pushed upon all sorts of synthetic medications, and this natural option that the earth has provided us is totally forgotten or even discounted and actually poo-pooed. Like, this doesn't work, it's just a plant. But my goodness, those plants are so powerful. The chemical compounds in plants are actually often what's mimicked synthetically. So for example, peppermint, that cooling agent, they can actually take that from a peppermint plant, a compound, and recreate that synthetically, which is obviously very cheap and can be used in all sorts of things to create a cooling effect. Whereas if you use the peppermint, it's going to have that same impact. So whether or not you get hot sometimes, or whether or not you've got that head tension, or whatever's going on, you can use that directly on your skin, and you know it's going into your body, into your bloodstream, and your body's not got another toxic load to deal with.
The fact you can put them straight onto your skin.
Yes.
We can't do that with all the other essential oils.
No, and that's because they don't tell you what's in it. So that in amongst what could be in it. So you may have a percentage. Now, it's not guaranteed 4%. If they're organic, then obviously it's probably going to be more than 4% in that bottle, but they still don't need to tell you what else is added. So it doesn't have the impact and that kind of result that you would want of a 100% pure essential oil. You can also take these internally because of that safety element, and you must not take any others internally because that could be really dangerous. Yeah. So they're really exciting to be able to take internally because, for example, lemon. Now we talk about keeping our bodies well and our immune system, and I know we'll talk about this in greater depth, but the lemon essential oils from the rind of the essential oil, and it's actually alkaline as opposed to acidic. And we know that, you know, terrible things within our body cannot survive in an alkaline state. And so we want to have things that can support our body to stay much more alkaline than acidic. And so this is another thing. It's a tool in your toolbox that you can use to just thrive and be more well and just have that whole well-being as opposed to just a certain element.
I think a lot of people, Cathrine, don't realise that the pharmaceutical drugs that we all take, you know, a lot of them are based on medicinal herbs and, you know, plants as well. even something like taking a simple aspirin. You know, years ago, you went to an apothecary and all of these things would be made up specifically for you. And that has this whole new industry now, which we're seeing never more than now at the moment with the pharmaceutical stuff that's being pushed at us at the moment. Is that this is a massive industry that has taken over the wellness industry, you know, the wellness workplace, if you like, going from what these natural and alternative, which are not alternative, these were the things that were the basis of health and well-being. We call them alternate and complementary now, which is barking, because actually those were the things that up until 150 years ago, that's what was keeping people well. I mean, I know we live in a different world, you know, we don't have the stresses and strains, but for people now to think that taking pharmaceuticals and things that have got other stuff in them, even if they are purportedly natural, for people to think that that is normal is one of the reasons I believe that we're in the state that we are now.
Yeah, 100%. It's a narrative, isn't it? It's a narrative that's been directed, and everything outside of this narrative is looked at as not being correct. Actually, I have had people say, but I don't believe that a doctor would tell me that if it wasn't true. And that belief is so intense in their heart, right? But the thing is, most GPs have that belief too instilled in their heart, because that is their training. They are not bad people. No. That is not at all, you know, what we're saying. And
when I trained as a nurse in 1985, you know, there was absolutely no nutritional training. There was nothing about this whatsoever. And I'd love to be able to tell you that's different now, but I'm not sure it is. And I also don't think that doctors get any training now on nutrition, maybe a day. I mean, there are some movements now and some great people that are training doctors in functional nutrition, which is what I do.
Yes.
But it's, you know, it's still allopathic, you know, medicine, as you say, believing that medicine is God. Is, I think, probably one of the biggest pandemics that we have.
What's your symptom? Let's sort that. And then, of course, that medication has other secondary side effects, and then it's this kind of cycle. Nutrition is usually the root cause of most things, and so that is that foundation that needs to be looked at 100%, without the fear of a quick fix. Well, that pill will do this for me. So the water soluble medication that we have can't even access it, so that's why they don't give it to us, whereas the oils can penetrate the cell and get inside and deal with that as well.
Could you tell us a quick I don't know, blend or whatever you would use to either bust stress or help your immune system to be boosted or something? Can you give us a quick tip?
Probably a nice one for now is lavender, lemon and peppermint essential oil. And if anybody wants it because they have issues within the countryside right now with seasonal threats coming in, you know, whether it's itchy eyes or whatever, those three are actually a natural antihistamine.
And before we go, Catherine, I think there is also something important to say here, because so you've got 3 boys, you know, all the trauma of homeschooling, of, you know, what's going on at school for them. Do they have to wear masks? It's all very stressful for you. Yeah. But it's also stressful for our kids as well. And the wonderful thing about these oils is that you've got blends too that I'm sure you are using for your boys.
Lovely. They actually do beautiful kids blends, and they're lovely names as well. So you've got Brave, you've got Steady, you've got Calmer. So in the morning, because especially my middle son, he gets very, very stressed about going to school. And then once he's there, he's fine. But so he puts Braver on, and that's his thing that he does in the morning, and rolls it on his wrist, and then he breathes it in, and then he goes, okay, I'm ready to go. And my oldest is a teenager, so he's 13, he's nearly 14, and that was really hard for him, and he felt angry about the whole thing. So he was able to look at the emotion oils and say, right, what do I need right now? Do I need cheer? So there's a blend called Cheer to help lift your mood. There's a blend called Forgive, and he said he felt he needed to forgive.
I'm so blessed to have found these oils so that I can give my children these tools.
Brilliant. That's brilliant, isn't it?
It is. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your hints and tips. We definitely want you to come back.
No, you're so welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
And we will see you all soon on the Curry Spot.
Thanks for coming back. See you soon.